you guys said, we haven't really touched on it yet. Man United today have made contact, according to Plattenberg, with Ekitike's camp. And I don't know about you guys. Do you think this is real from Man United, or do you think this is United playing games to maybe try and force things along elsewhere? I mean, we need a striker. We need a striker. Like, what do you guys think? United are genuinely in for Ekitike?
I think it's a bit shouldn't be the one you're in for if you're after a striker.
Sorry?
Why?
Ekitike shouldn't be the one that United are after.
What happens if Gyökeres joins Arsenal? Who's their backup?
No, but why not, Tom? Why not?
Because I'd love to know who you think, Tom, because you said no to Sesko, and I said no to Ekitike.
No, forget about
I'm saying no to Sesko. No to Sesko full-heartedly. I'm saying no to Ekitike for Manchester United. I think Manchester United need a different profile for striker. I think Manchester United need more of a Gyökeres or a Mateta, someone who is wants to back up into a defender, hold up play, bring in your Mbeumo and your Cunha into the game. Ekitike wants to drift and float, and not really go.
There's too many players willing to drop away from the goal there, Tom. If they get Ekitike, so don't they?
No one in that United attack wants to sit in the box. Football's a simple game. You need someone in the box when you're attacking. So
if Gyökeres signs for Arsenal and they don't go for Ekitike, what number 9?
I genuinely think for United they'd be better placed getting a Mateta in for a couple of years. Than
I think United have to go.
You know what's mad about that? I said that earlier, Tom. I said that earlier, Tom. I think, to be honest, when you look at all these other strikers, these Seskos, the Ekitikes and so on, you can go get Jean-Philippe Mateta, who's actually proven in the Premier League, plays very similar to them, probably does a lot of what they do at a higher level. They obviously may have higher ceilings than him. He's 27, 28 years old right now, but you'd get him for half the price. I honestly don't know why, like I said, Man United aren't looking at a player like him, because you don't need to be signing all these players for big money moves where we already know going to Manchester United has a massive impact on players. The mental, like Terry, you've always spoke about the pressure of playing Man United. That's what tends to get a lot of these young players. Why not go get someone that's actually just proven at Premier League level, and they're already old enough? They're not looking for, this is going to be my biggest move and this is going to be me for the next 5 or 6 years. Just Mateta's coming to play football and score goals.
Mateta knows how to play the system as well. He's done it at Palace. He plays with 2 10s behind him. He knows how to link up with 10s.
Mateta would be a great
Mateta is the lot. United need a striker who's going to put himself in the box and be a physical presence that Mbeumo and Cunha can play off of. I know he won't move out of Saudi, but an Ivan Toney's the perfect example of what United need up front. A player who does what Ivan Toney does, a player who does what Mateta does. Ekitike doesn't do that. Ekitike, as much as I don't want him at Liverpool, I think he makes a lot more sense for Liverpool because we have wingers and wide players who want to drift into the middle. So Ekitike can afford to go out wide at that point and afford to drift out wide because we have enough players who are going to push in the box, whether it's a Szoboszlai late run or a Florian Wirtz in the box or Salah's going to crash in the box. Ekitike is allowed to then be a bit more free in what he does. With United, Cunha wants to sit in and around the edge of the box and operate in the space between defence and midfield. And Mbeumo wants to start wide and drift in. If Ekitike is also trying to drift into space, there's eventually no space to drift into. And you're just not going to get the best out of them, especially for the price that they're asking. If you're going to pay a lot of money for Hugo Ekitike, you kind of need to use him in a way where you're going to get somewhat value for money. Spending 80 million quid on Hugo Ekitike to try and play him as this target man isn't going to work because he doesn't want to be a target man. There's players that are built for a role but don't have the mentality to play that role. Ekitike doesn't want to be someone who backs into defenders, holds it up, wins the flick-ons, lays it off. Mateta does. And Ivan Toney did. Players of that ilk are what United need with the players that they have at their disposal.
But would you agree that they're going to have to get another striker in 2 years after that? Because Mateta is like the guy that gets them back into the top 8 or something.
Yeah. But 100% they will do. But it means that if we're looking at the market right now for strikers, very overpriced and not very saturated. There's few names for high value. Give it 2 years, the striker market will be a lot different. And the perfect player for the United system might all of a sudden be available. Whereas right now, it arguably isn't. Mateta does a job there. He's good, but he's not the perfect fit.
Yeah, look, I agree. I wouldn't put 100 million on young Ekitike right now. I completely and utterly agree. I like him and I rate him, but it's the situation that we're in. I think we need a bit more experience. Or if we're buying a young player, the lap at 30 million would would have made sense if you get where I'm coming from. I feel like that's more the sort of where we should have been in that circumstance. So I do agree. I like the player, but I don't necessarily think it's what we should be moving on right now. My gut feeling, and just a shameless plug, 8 p.m. tonight, I'll be live on the United Stand speaking about this. I feel this is a little bit more of a, what's the expression we use? Like a smoke screen. I think it's a little bit of a smoke screen kind of deal or conversation. I think United are putting that out there maybe to try and move the decision from Gyökeres along, potentially something along those lines, because there's just something that just feels a little bit off, if that makes sense. I don't know. He isn't like the others that we've been looking at. He feels a different type of profile. I'm not saying he's a bad striker, but listen, I'm not saying he'll be easy to get, but I'd prefer us to go and get Mateta. 110%. I'd prefer us to go and get Mateta.
Isn't the Gyökeres situation because of the agreement he had was with the director of football who's now left? So now the new director of football's come in and said, well, this agreement you've got is complete bollocks, and that's why he's kicking. I literally just see that on Twitter now. So
Henry, don't you think in 2025, 2025, people that are still relying on gentlemen's agreements, man? Like, come on.
Well, look how Harry Kane's one turned out with that City move with Daniel Levy.
It's actually a joke that players
I think they're bigger than you think
agreements.
in football, though, couldn't they? Especially with agents. Agents are constantly looking for deals like that to line up the next one and the next one and have people sort of aware. I think they're bigger than you think in the football world. I would feel like gentlemen's agreements. Yeah, I think they're still about, to be honest with you. I think
I think they're about.
But if anyone that does them,
but not a lot of them are honoured of the recent years. It doesn't seem. That's how it seems.
Yeah, Gyökeres would have almost been better to have fallen off in terms of his level to make sure that he kept his price down in terms of what Sporting valued him at for the second season. And then someone might have gone, okay, yeah, there's a chance there. We'll take a chance on him. He's had 1.5 good seasons at Sporting.
Maybe.
Either way, but I think every team in the Premier League, you could make a case for them signing Gyökeres. I think bar City, every team you could make a case for signing him.
I think every Newcastle, I think personally.
Yeah, true. Newcastle. I think every other team should be keeping an eye on him. That's serious about challenging or putting themselves into the Champions League mix or whatever. They should be eyeing up that player definitely.
Even
do you think the same thing about Sesko?
No.
Yeah, Dan, aren't you? You're now. Plettenberg said that you're going in for Ekitike after the Club World Cup. Like that. Yeah. That's another one where, when he played against Spurs at home at our ground, he was coming in off the left, and he loves to shoot from distance. Yeah. I don't think that's a player you should be looking at. I think you should be looking at as well another Gyökeres, someone because you've got wild players that create chances. And then you got
I think Chelsea will assess their squad and attacking options during the Club World Cup. And then I think decisions will be made. I've got a funny feeling that Chelsea feel like then, unless Jackson has a shocker at the Club World Cup or money comes in for him or a suggestion of a move, I think they'll go and look for a player in a similar sort of style to what they thought Nkunku was going to be. And that's what I think they might think Ekitike could be that player. But I'm not sold. I'm not sold on the fee. Don't get me wrong, he had a good season. He linked up really well early on with Marmoush. He was fantastically important for that Frankfurt side. He played well with another player, which shows that if you've got players in and around him, you can do it. But I agree with what Tom said as well. I think he's definitely not a player that's solely back to goal, linking up the play. Mm-hmm. And I just don't see where he really fits in Chelsea's side. I think they've got too many players.
What's interesting about Chelsea is, there's also the news today that Gittins. So I'll say to the viewers, StreamYard's playing up a little bit, so not all of your super chats have come through. I've seen them on Twitter, on YouTube, but they haven't all come through on StreamYard, so I won't be able to put them all up on the screen, but I will do my best to read them out. I want to thank Adam Davis, who has gifted out 20 memberships to you guys in the audience. So if you've noticed that you're suddenly a TFT member, make sure you please thank Adam Davis for those gifts, please. That's very, very generous of him. Obviously, the news has come out that you've got the agreements with Jamie Gittins, and you're going to go up in for him again. And you're going to bid for him again. There's only a 3 million differential in what Dortmund want and what you're willing to bid. That may drop. But what's interesting about Chelsea is what Ben Jacobs has reported on so many times now, that there isn't actually a guarantee you're going to buy another striker. There is a view that it may be wide players you go for, and you've given that number 9 shirt to Delap, And I think that's why the striker market is so interesting. I think Osimhen now being back in the European market is there. Liverpool are going to close the deal for Wirtz, and there's talk they want a number 9. I think they beat Chelsea, Arsenal, and Man United to whichever player they want. I think if they go in and actually make a big offer, I don't see whether it's Šeško, Gyökeres, Ekitike.